Come correct or don't come at all.
This is the Hartzog Hustle Podcast.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And we're talking about the hustle, strategy, and mindset you need to win in the areas of your finance, your purpose, and your future.
Know what I'm saying?
If you have heart and you want to learn how to activate the power of your hustle, then this is the podcast for you, baby. For you, baby.
Congratulations.
And now, your hosts, Anthony and Janilka Hartzog.
This is how it should be done.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Hartzog Hustle Podcast. And my name is Anthony, and I'm joined here by Janilka, obviously the co-host.
Yes, hello, everyone.
And we also have an amazing guest, one of our close friends, Ozzie. We're going to talk about his journey into fitness, entrepreneurship, but he also has a great, I think you'll probably, no weirdness, but you have your body's fantastic, number one.
He also has a great body.
But also, your mind is fantastic, too, because I think the way you think about life, I think you always try to take the positives out of it. You're always an upbeat, friendly person. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And where does that even come from, man? Talk to us about, where does that come from?
It actually came from the transition from New York to Texas.
Were you trying to say you had to be softer in Dallas?
Yeah, absolutely. Coming from New York, we tend to be a little bit more standoffish. And, if someone's being nice to us, we like, why are they being nice? What they up to? Yeah. So what I realized is, you get more bees with honey than you do vinegar. And I figured out that people like to be around me because I'm a low maintenance person. Yeah. And I couldn't really figure out. So once I figured that out, I was like, people just want good energy around them. And I feel like that's easy to do. It costs nothing to be nice to somebody. So that just started to be who I started working on. And then just like learning that perspective is everything on life. And once I decided that, I'm like, it don't have to be a problem. It could be a situation, but it don't have to be a problem. Yeah. And then that kind of just removed the victim's mentality that we tend to have when we go through things in life.
Bro, I've never seen you mad. I've never seen you upset. No. So you saying moving from New York to Dallas, what brought you out here?
So originally it was crazy. So I had been, praying to God, like, I hope an opportunity comes for me to move. I was working at a bartender in Buffalo, and I skipped work because I was too hungover. I was a bartender at this bar that one of my frat bros owned, and I was like, I'm asking God to bless me. I'm not even taking care of what I got. So what I did was I Googled 50 top companies. And Arlington came up. I'm like, the Cowboys play here. It don't get cold that much here. They lied about that. Oh, so you love the Cowboys.
It definitely gets cold here, but yeah.
Right. So Arlington was one. They based it on art museums, restaurants, shopping centers, things that I wasn't really important, but I'm 25 at this point. It's like whatever. So I applied, and I applied on a Monday. They got back to me on a Tuesday, and
you applied to what exactly?
I applied to it was a recruiter app or something like that.
Oh, okay.
They called me the next day. Come to find out, the lady chose my resume because she said she liked my name, and she never seen a name like that before. And that following week, I had a phone interview. Then 2 weeks later, they flew me out for an interview. Then I got the job, and then 2 weeks after that,
I was hungry. They was ready.
Yeah.
Where's your name come from?
Actually, it's my father's name, my grandfather's name, and his great grandfather's name was Ozzie. So it's a family name. I'm not a third technically because there's like middle name rules. You gotta have the same middle name, and I have a different middle name from my.
I just learned that too.
Yeah.
No, but I thought when the middle name changed, that's when you become the second, third, and stuff like that. Only if
I don't know. I might do that. I'm thinking about getting a PhD at some point. I'll be Ozzie Palmer the third.
I did not know that. Yeah. I didn't know that you just literally, number one, what? So you literally said, I'm going to. What made you want to get out of Buffalo?
Yeah. So this is
Buffalo. What's up there?
That's another thing too that I tell anybody young. Go somewhere where you might want to live after. Okay. I don't know nobody wants to live in Buffalo. If you're not from Buffalo. No. It got to the point.
Were you from Buffalo?
I'm from Rochester.
You're from Rochester.
But Rochester, you don't want to be there either. Yeah. I mean, I'm thankful for what it did for me, but that's not a place I would want to live now and raise my family because of opportunity. So what hit for me, it was like I started hanging around the Buffalo locals, which was cool, but people were comfortable making 30,000, 40,000. And I'm just like,
It has to be more.
I feel like I had too much month at the end of my money, and I'm like,
You had too much month at the end of your money. That's a ball.
you know what I mean? So I was like, nah, I got to get out of here. You know what I mean? And then I started applying, and then I also realized that I was still hanging around college people. I'm 23. I became the old guy that people were talking about.
At 23.
Yeah, we talked about those kids, those dudes as a freshman. Like, yo, why
They
y'all
still-
in a party? It was one DJ. He was like 40. I'm like, nah, like he can't still be enjoying this. So I just was fed up. And I think anytime I've ever made a move in my life, I was fed up.
Yeah.
And you just feel this strong pull. Same with from Buffalo to Dallas, from Dallas to LA. Like it was just like, all right, I need a change. Sometimes, I'm here back again. It comes full circle, but I had to go through all those experiences to get me to where I am now. So I'm thankful for them all.
Bro, you said you had too much month at the end of your money.
Yeah.
Like where'd you learn that type of stuff from? Like where did that come from?
Jim Rohn.
Jim Rohn.
So to me, anything that's super analytical or cerebral, like Jordan Peterson, Alan Watts, anybody who's like really dissecting things, because I think y'all have a great team and ability to just do stuff. I am not as agreeable as I seem. Like conversationally, I am, but you told me so much stuff, and it makes so much sense. But I just wasn't going to do it, and I just had to learn that about myself. Like certain things, I'm just not going to do. So I started like thinking about me as a personality types with the things that I do. Like I love learning and I love like meticulous data information things. So I was like, I'm not an implementer. I'm more of a high level person. You know what I'm saying? I feel like y'all have the ability to do both. You know what I mean? Anything you ever said you was going to do, you got to it. Whereas me, it's like, I need all this research and all these things. So I started thinking, I was like, this is slowing me down because I don't have the funds to pay to have somebody do the stuff I don't want to do. And like I said before, y'all inspired me because y'all was living in a world where y'all was taking chances, but y'all still had that stable income. And that created like confidence. Competence brings confidence. So if y'all know like, okay, nothing we are doing right now, even if we take a L, is going to have us out of a house and home. When you start operating out of scarcity with your passion becomes about money and you don't enjoy it no more. So when I started listening to like Jim Rohn, he was just basically discussing like The Richest Man in Babylon. I read that book. Money is a lot more simpler than people make it out to be. And I started creating these concepts and I started thinking about how they're applicable to me and my personality, which no one ever talks about when they talk about success. They don't talk about personality types. And I think that's important. If you're a go-getter, go order taker, take chances, then you got people like me who might be a little risk averse unless I have more information. So, Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Dave Ramsey, obviously. And what I liked, this guy named Ido Portal has this one view on life. He said, wisdom is how many conflicting ideas you can hold in your head at the same time. It makes sense of them all. And that's where I feel like I get the most benefit and joy from life by like listening to your approach and then talking to one of our other friends. And I'm like, I can see how they both make sense. What works best for me?
Right.
And then try it and then pivot if necessary. So, yeah.
Right. And first of all, we jump right in. We have you say like who you are, what you do, nothing like that. We just
We can always go back. It's a conversation.
So tell the people who you are. What do you do full time? How would you describe yourself?
Okay. I am a human being first.
See?
That I enjoy solving problems. I'm passionate about fitness. I was working as a personal trainer out in LA. But I'm currently getting back into tech because I'm big on trying to merge realms. Because if I can do something for a consistent bag, that the skill sets I can use to get another bag, I think I want to do that. Also, I used to work as a teacher. And at that time in my life, I was taking an altruistic approach, wanting to give back. But there's too many people around me who I can pour my energy into that I haven't to the degree that I feel like I should. So I'm taking a step back from some of the self-employed things I'm doing, trying to create more infrastructure to be truly more entrepreneur and not as hands-on.
Okay.
So that's where I'm.
So when's the last? So you stopped teaching when?
June of 2020, and I taught for 4 years.
June of 2020. So since then you've just what would you say you've been doing?
I was just personal training. So I was doing some virtual stuff, and I was doing some in-person stuff, but I was trading time for money. And COVID. There was no traffic in LA. So I can train 5-6 people spending 15, 20 minutes moving around. Then it got to the point where traffic was back. So I might have been training 5-6 clients a day, but I'm spending 35, 40 minutes in traffic in between, which was making my day 12-hour days, which was affecting my ability to eat how I want to eat.
Train how you want to train.
They don't let you use the restrooms in the gas stations in LA. So I couldn't drink the water I needed to drink because
What do you mean they don't let you use the restrooms?
all of them closed.
What?
Yeah, you can't go to
Not that I want to go to a gas station bathroom, but I'm just saying, what do you mean?
You can't go. Like, literally, you got to go to the grocery store if you're on the highway and you need to use the restroom.
Okay.
Like,
Is it only for employees, I guess?
Yeah.
Oh, never knew that.
Yeah, so those things started becoming a point. Like, I can't drink my 32 ounces of water before I leave. And it started to affect my life. And then you start to see, as me and him always talk about, like, when people want to do something, they'll do it. They don't need much suggestion. They just need a plan. And I only had maybe 2 or 3 clients who were really like that, who were going to do the work and going to show up every day. So it's like, you're not getting the results. The price point was, everybody dealing with COVID, right? So I was making good money, but it wasn't consistent. But my bills was consistent every month.
Bills gonna be there.
You know what I mean? So
Bills gonna show
Bills
up.
always
and
gonna be
then
there.
in my first few really good months, I'm like, oh, I'm about to go on this trip. I'm about to cop this. I'm wilding. You know what I mean? Then I started realizing, like, October, November, December are my slow months. For the past holidays, people traveling.
Yeah.
In LA, nobody really got 9-to-5 job. So they tend to travel and move around a lot more than the average person. Like, when I was here in Dallas, people didn't cancel much on sessions, right? So as I'm working as a trainer, I started thinking, like, this isn't sustainable. So we talked to you. He was like, hey, you need to go online. But I despise marketing and copywriting.
I was about to say to you, I didn't see you on Instagram in a few.
I took a break. I got off of it. Since November, I got off of it.
So how were you marketing then?
There you go.
All my clients are word of mouth and
Word
through
of mouth.
warm connections, right?
Okay.
But I don't know I wasn't able to encapsulate me on social media. I just like a fit dude that's probably a meathead. You know what I mean? And I think that my most enjoyable things about training people is the conversation that we have while training, because you start to see different perspectives. And back to the quote of holding conflicting views, you start to see what someone from Philly thinks like, what someone from Nigeria thinks like, and you start saying like, oh, there's a disconnect that's happening amongst human beings on so many levels. And then I think that for me, I started to be like, I need this money, so this is not fun no more. Like, I'm not passionate about technology, so I can almost be a robot and do the job and not have any emotional attachment. When you have an emotional attachment to something, you start thinking about your feelings. Money don't got nothing to do with feelings. So I was like, now I reposition myself, create infrastructure where either I also developing leads, right? It's like you got it. People like, oh, Instagram. But I'm like, I got a bunch of cheap people from college who follow me. They don't want to pay them premium price points. So it's like, how do I get in front of people who want to pay that price point? I was like, you know what? Corporate networking. So my goal is, I call it stretching yourself. Do things that are uncomfortable that you know will serve you in the future, like delayed gratification. So me leaving LA, I was like, you know what? I got to get back into the corporate tech space. I cut my hair, beard, I had braids, as y'all know. And I was just like I'm playing a game, I'm not the game. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to be attached. And I think as our generation, we want to be rebels. We want to buck the system so much. When the reality is, like, you got to be in the game to change the game. I wasn't in the game no more. And I never even really knew how a company ran and flourished. I was the boss and the employee, the marketer, the assistant, the advertiser, everything. And I'm like,
And you have to clean up after yourself.
literally,
You're the janitor.
That's how entrepreneurs start out. I mean, it's true. That's how a lot of entrepreneurs start out. And so, how long have you been training for?
Since 2015. And it's funny, I got that job because of corporate trauma. And no one teaches you how to work in corporate America, right? So I made some.
Just go in.
Yeah, exactly, right? I made some mistakes, and I felt like I after graduating college, I'm like, who am I? I'm like, I'm in a fraternity, but I can't be walking around at 25.
Not with a cane.
Right, exactly.
What fraternity is that? Just for the listeners?
The greatest fraternity in the world, Kappa Alpha Psi. So nice it had to be named twice.
I'll leave that one. I'm gonna delete that from the show.
But yeah, so once I lost the job, I said, who am I? And I was like, what have I been doing the most consistent in my life? At that point, fitness, I started in 2010, 2011 to 2015. I was the most consistent staple in my life. And in natural fashion, people around you, oh, you should try to make money off of it. People should be teaching infrastructure first. Like, what does a healthy fitness business and how do you scale it? I had to learn about my inability to scale to take a step back to be like, I need to learn how to scale. But it was rooted in passion, and passion don't pay the bills. I think you should honor it. But I like what y'all did. Y'all had ideas. Y'all tried them out. And never once until recently, I heard either one of y'all ever talking about not working your jobs. And I think that gave y'all a sense of like, okay, we have a solid foundation and we're going to build. And that encouraged me because I was like, I grew my beard and hair because that was like my F corporate America. You know, because I'm like, you know, we got to play the corporate shuffle. But now it's temporary because most of the people who are really wealthy, they built that nest egg from working a corporate job. And then they
use it as a vehicle and then you go on.
And that's what I feel like I was only getting one side. Oh, ain't nobody cut my check, work for your last name. No disrespect to these people. It works, but they already had a foundation that it's hard to develop in your early 20s, right? No one's going to let me run their company at 24, 25. I wouldn't have hired me back then. You know what I'm saying? So that was kind of where it got me to where I am now. Is just these losses that I took and me having to find out who I was. At the core, I had to start praying again. Because, you know, when you win and you kind of like, oh, your spiritual practices don't be where they should be. You might not be getting enough sleep, drinking enough water, you know, rest, whatever the case may be. And then once I got back to that, I call it your core. It's like you get back to the things that are essential to you being reasonably at peace no matter what's going on. And that helped me find fitness. And then fitness, I was like, you know what, I'm going to teach. And then teaching is corporate, just a different type of corporate. So all these things kind of intertwined and kind of got me to where I am now.
Okay.
Well, you just mentioned something I'm struggling with right now. You mentioned people get to this level where they get to where they want to be financially or whatever it may be, but they still struggle with like things like drinking their water, spirituality. I'm really struggling with that right now. I'm trying to get back into the shape that I was in because I kind of focus more on the financial. Like that was my thing, like financial. Let's get to these goals. But now I'm trying to get back. All right, well, we got the finances. Let's get back to what got us here. So you said drinking water, eating right again, and you also mentioned spirituality, which I feel like are big for us. So how do you? Like you mentioned, you getting back to that. How do you get back to that when you get so far removed from it? Not so far, but you get removed from it.
It's really tough because there's a scripture in the Bible that said it's hard for a wealthy man to enter into the King of Heaven because if you identify with where you are, you don't think about what got you there. Right. And that's when a lot of people start to lose it. Like Jim Rohn had a quote. He was like, it dawned on him. He said he became a millionaire in 6 years. He said, what if I got too sick to enjoy my money? And also Stephen Covey, he said, if you were to die right now, what would a coworker, a family member, and your kids say about you at your funeral? And I thought about it. They're not going to say, oh, Oz had 100 clients. They're not going to say, oh, Oz was worth 5 million, whatever. They was going to be thinking about their experiences. So I had to start, there's like this matrix that he has of urgent, non-urgent, important, and not important. And we tend to work on the urgent things and the not important things that appear to be urgent instead of working on the important things, which is the water, the food, the health.
Water right now.
So what I would recommend for anybody else is go get blood work done. And this is new. Like check your hormone levels, check your vitamins and any allergies that you may or may not have. And now seeing tangible data is going to make you react. For example, let's say we go get our testosterone checked and our doctor tell us that we're at the levels of a 55-year-old man and we're both under 35. That's a problem, right? So now, okay, cool. Now we look and see there's podcasts, Dr. Huberman, Joe Rogan. There's people who we can say, okay, they talked about this. Let me try this supplement out. Now you have tangible things. It's like you got to like chop one thing at a time. You can't try to do too much. And that's what people do on New Year's. They got these big resolutions. Everybody's doing the 75 hard. I was like, nope.
Oh, everyone's doing that.
I saw that. I recently learned about it. I actually looked at it. I'm like, okay, what's that?
I like 2 workouts a day outside. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, you got to walk. You got to walk 30 minutes and jog 30 minutes.
So I think people do those things for the camaraderie in the community. And because that's such a big marketing tool, everyone's doing. But nobody said, hey, guys, I quit on day 10.
No one.
They just said, next year is going to be my year. You know what I mean? So
they'll tell you why.
I always recommend to people starting with little small chunks that if you had to do it for the rest of your life, you could. I can't run 5 miles every day. I can commit to walking or running 1 day a week. And then when you start to feel good, you have to trust yourself that, you know what, I'm going to do more. I'm going to start off with 30 minutes. It's just about starting at a healthy baseline and building up. So for me, meditation was so hard because I'm sure like you, overactive brain. So what I did was I did guided meditation for 5 minutes. My goal was 1 more minute every week. That's it. 1 more minute. And then it got to the point where I wasn't even timing anything. I was just able to zone out. And what happens is you feel refreshed like you slept after you were able to let thoughts subside. And people think meditation is not thinking. It's about observing your thoughts because thoughts are intrusive, right? You ever just think something random like, what if I just did this real quick?
Yes,
right?
definitely.
You're not going to do it because you're aware of the implications of doing it. So it's just like watching your thoughts and realizing that you're the observer of your thoughts and you are not your thoughts. The same with your feelings. So when you like, I can't go to sleep. So one of the tricks that I always do whenever I'm thinking too much is I'll clasp my fingers like this. And if I can't feel my heartbeat in my fingers, that means I'm in my head. So whenever I'm just like...
So I'm supposed to feel my heartbeat in my fingers?
So
Let's all
take a
do
moment.
this
Yes. Take a
exercise.
moment. You can close your eyes if you need to.
I might need to.
And if you are not watching this on YouTube, our eyes are closed.
Let me know when you feel your heartbeat.
I don't feel nothing.
You got to focus.
You should feel your pulse, right?
Yes, your pulse. Yep. You feel it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Only because I'm forced to feel it right now.
Okay, yes, I feel
Okay,
it.
so look. The more,
I do.
so whenever I'm having a conversation, tough conversation, or I'm stressed, even in traffic, I might just put my fingers together and just take note of how long it takes me. It's like I'm being a human doing and not a human being. I'm too far ahead in the future. If you're driving, you're driving. Do that. Don't, when I get there, I'm going to do this. Then do this. What I like to do is pull out my phone and just write down notes if my brain going too crazy. Because now I just took it out of my head.
I be telling him to do that all
And
the
put
time.
it into the phone. Now it's like I separated myself from it. So I think just having little simple practices of also too, same way you are with podcasts, if you just practice, look up high level business people who practice spirituality, like maybe like a Richard Branson or somebody who is, and then just see like, how do they make time for it? And then just like, I'm going to try this for a week. I went on a stint where I did 100 days straight of yoga, meditation, and journaling every day.
How was it?
I felt amazing.
Yeah.
But the moment I stopped, I felt terrible.
Yeah.
because it became a crutch.
Yeah, how can you do
it
that? How
wasn't
can you keep that
sustainable?
consistently?
Yeah.
The thing is, it's just like what I would do is, let's say I have to got a client at 5:30. I'm getting up 2 to 3 hours before I have to do so. I take that first part of the day for myself.
That's AM.
At
right?
2 a.m.?
Yeah, so I'll be up at 2:33,
What time you gotta go to bed for that?
8.
Sheesh. I used to, 8, 9 when I was going up really early. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yes.
but the thing is, the first thing we do is we grab our phone or we're giving ourselves to someone else, whether it be responding or going on Instagram or something like that. Now, someone just implanted their thoughts in your head. Rather, if you take your first few minutes to go sit down for 5 minutes and just sit in silence or do yoga or journal. Another thing that journal does is it detaches you from your thoughts because you're separating. Like literally a journal entry can be like, today was a good day, but I was annoyed as hell. I'm not sure why. I think because I feel tried. And then in the moment of hearing yourself write this stuff down, you like, I feel tried, but they weren't trying me. That's just because that's how I viewed it, right? And now, then let's say you're having a rough week. You're like, I'm going to reread what I wrote for the week. And you start like, why did I even care about that on Monday? It's just like you're holding yourself accountable because we don't ever check that negative voice in our head, right? Y'all talked about when y'all paid y'all debt off the emergency fund. The only expense y'all had with the tires was $900. I remember you telling me.
Yeah.
Like, that's how our brain works. Emergency. $500, $200.
Yeah. What's the emergency? I mean, I think that's also a mentality from growing up in New York too, because when people come, I think my mother was at the house. She's like, "Did you?" So I do this too, though. So we barely out the car, and I'm like, "Did you lock the door?" I'm like, "Did you lock the door?" But we'll go by my dad in Miami. He's like, "Relax." Like, I'm like, "You the people they be robbing."
And
Because you
relaxing to a New Yorker is triggering. I had to tell them, don't tell me to relax or chill. That make me want to be like, yo, what's good? You know what I'm saying?
It's like relax. So it's like at some point you're definitely on alert constantly.
And that's
like,
not good for our brain. So, okay, there's two things that happen. You shoot your cortisol up and you affect your heart rate variability, which is the pulses in between your beats. And it affects your ability to, what was the other thing I was about to say? It stops you from being able to almost relax when you're in a constant state of scarcity, right? So for y'all conquered the money thing. For me, I did everything else first, and then money became that thing for me. Like, oh man, I can't do this. And then I just started to say to myself, I'm like, so what are you gonna do, bro? Like, I feel like life is cyclical. You have the same 3 or 4 things that you worry about throughout the cycle of a year. And Napoleon Hill wrote a book, Think and Grow Rich. It was talking about the six deadly fears, and like money, criticism, all these things started to happen. I started going into, I was like, oh, it comes from my mom. You know, we as a kid saying, I want McDonald's. Every one of her, you got McDonald's.
You got
McDonald's money.
Like where I work
McDonald's only $3 to $5.
Right,
But back then it was a lot.
Not to mention, they say not in my house. I'm cleaning. I'm doing all this stuff. It's mine too. I don't got no financial stake in it.
But I got something in there.
Yes, exactly. So you start to think about all these like scarcity concepts that happen. So I feel like y'all conquered the money thing, right? You have to ask yourself this, and I think I know what it is. When you're young, you can't imagine yourself being old and sick. But it's coming sooner than we think, right? There's 40-year-olds having heart attacks and strokes and things like that. So it's just envisioning yourself, would 50-year-old me be proud of what I'm doing right now? Minus the money. Because when you got money, people just like, no disrespect to those people, but people like, oh, I got money. I don't have to worry about how I look or, taking care of myself because I
that's
can
all
buy
they
it.
focus on.
You can't pay
for health.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta do the work.
I mean, we saw that with Steve Jobs.
Exactly. And that to me, cancer is so scary because nobody really knows how you get it.
Right.
But I know there's some guaranteed ways to get it. Eating unhealthy, not
Smoking.
sleeping, being stressed out. They were saying there was a correlation for people who got sick with chronic dehydration. Most people don't drink enough water because they're like, oh, water nasty. I'm like, water is not about it being tasty. Like, that's not what it's about.
You need it.
You need it.
And then you gotta go to the bathroom a lot. It's excessive.
Oh, definitely, it's inconvenient. But to do what y'all did, that wasn't convenient either.
Yeah.
You gotta choose our heart.
Yep,
Gotta choose your
that's
heart.
something that I see all the time on Instagram. And a few things that you were talking about, because I know that you take a very holistic approach when it comes to your training. Is that something that was taught to you, or do you? Because I know one time we spoke, I'm like, I'm not taking all these vitamins, Oz. I'm not. I'm not taking. You had 7 different things. I'm like, that's just not who I am. But I know a lot of people do follow that.
Yeah, you don't even focus on the actual fit, like the working out side of things.
No, because that.
Right.
Okay, so this is another thing that hit me. Barrier to entry is low when you don't have infrastructure and you're just running around like a chicken with your head cut off. So my approach was, what are these other trainers not doing?
How do you stand out?
Yes, what value can I provide? And most trainers, genetics play such a big part in how you look or whatever, right? And I feel like so many of these trainers were like taking supplements, fat burners, doing all these different things. And yes, it worked for them, but they were so fixated on the person's body rather than what they're putting in their body. I can't be there to slap food out your hand.
Nope.
If you're not a D1 athlete or NFL player, NBA player, you can't outwork a bad diet. And what happens is micronutrients affect your body as well. It affects your hormones. Like, for example, vitamin C determines how your body processes iron. People don't think that. Most people don't eat fruits or vegetables. They're like, oh, I don't eat that bad. I'm like, what you eat? I ain't hear one vegetable, one fruit, nothing. They talking about where I'm going to get my protein from. No one has ever died of protein deficiency. With the case of like extreme poverty, third world countries. But as far as Americans, that's not the case. So I started looking, to reference what I said earlier, I'm more of an analytical, cerebral person. So I said, what's happening here scientifically with the body? And I even noticed with me, my body don't look that much different outside of like what my diet is. It's more how I'm working out and what I'm eating in tandem with that. If I'm running, I'll lose weight, but I still might weigh the same amount. I might lose mass, but I'll weigh the same amount. So understanding your body and just knowing where you are, like, okay, for example, if someone doesn't want to have to drink a lot of water, how about getting up a little early, drink your water, or drinking your water late at night before you go to bed? Like, just making sure you get it in and then systematically work up. You get used to it. Like, I knew I was doing this. I was like, I'm waiting to right before the podcast start to go pee. So I know that I can keep it together for the duration of this.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
a lot of water. Got it.
Also, too, I think maybe with me being a Gemini, like I wasn't really into the whole astrological sign, but there are some similarities that I've seen.
Don't bring that on my podcast.
And no, I think like it's like a person, the Briggs-Myers test, right?
Right.
Somebody made that
there
up.
There you go. Yeah, but I agree. There are some similarities within the signs.
Yes,
definitely.
What I started to know, I was like, yo, I'm a go against the grain person. That is me. If everybody talking about squat 30 days, I'm like squat once a week. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like we get sheepish, right? Like right now, I love other podcasts, but people are like, oh, I'm about to start this business. I'm like, it takes a lot to do this business, even if it is a lucrative business. Instead of people like people just want the highlight reel. And I was like, I don't want clients that are so into having the body they want without doing the things they need to have the lifestyle
Stomach
that
flat
they want.
and
Exactly.
butt up.
and but you know, the thing that I noticed with a lot of women is cortisol. Their cortisol is high or they undereat. Most women, I'm like, how much do you eat a day? Oh, I eat this. I'm like, how many calories? I do the math. It's like 800-900. They don't recommend for you to go under 1,000 calories unless you're like recovering for something.
I'm not that woman.
Definitely not. She get her calories in.
You know, so like these are things that like when you see these things, you're like, oh, okay, this person's dealing with this. Then I might be like I'll tell him all the time, I'm not a big fan of running. I'd rather somebody just walk on the treadmill, because we could all walk. We could walk for an hour a day if we needed to. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, weather, rain or whatever, whatnot. But I do think that people make things really hard and try to make things exciting. I'm like, okay, what's the scientific approach and what's sustainable? The way I work out now, I could be 50. My dad could do the workout with me. I'm not out here trying to deadlift 500. I've done it before, but I'm not out here trying to do that no more because that's not sustainable. And you so tired that you can't even function at work.
Bro, shoot. I don't play with those. I don't play those games no more with the deadlifts.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and I think it's just about like what's sustainable and what am I actually working for? Like, I'll just know, like, being in my 30s, like, women not like, oh, you got a six pack, ooh, like that's not. So I'm like, all right, I just need to have you know what I'm saying? And it's like, all right, cool, and be healthy. Over, you know, when you're 25, all you know is like what your exterior value is. And so as I aged, I tried to transition my clients to that, because like, you're a 35-year-old woman, you're not about to look like no 25-year-old. Her metabolism fast. She's sleeping 9-10 hours a day. She
You got 6 hours in you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I think my approach was always, what value can I provide to this industry? But I just feel like my microphone wasn't loud enough because of my personality. I was stubborn and not willing to do the things to make my microphone louder in that space.
And so how do you continue to get your knowledge now when it comes to training? Like, where do you get that from?
One of my clients, his brother, worked like with a professional sports league, and I'm asking him, I'm like, yo, what do trainers? So I learned to ask questions. I don't ask for favors no more. I ask questions like, what book are you reading? You know, what would you recommend? And he told me about this program. Amazing program. It was $1,100. I'm gonna finish the cert, but I ain't finished it yet because I got into another program. But I started looking for what is the most up-to-date science. So like, I might look at a podcast. I might Google Odell Beckham's workout.
Okay.
Look at the person's name. Go see Alvin Kamara is another great one. Like his balance is crazy. So I'll go look at his physical therapist. Go do research like that. So instead of like looking for body goals, look for people who give information. And then like Stuart McGill, I found out about him through Squat University. Great page on Instagram. He talks about things from a functional, which is a derivation of Kelly Starrett, which was very like, he had wrote a book called The Supple Leopard. So now one of the cheat codes, you go on YouTube and say, Spark Notes or Quick Notes on this book. And give you a 12-minute thing. And then you get the points. Now you go look up those points. So you don't have to spend a lot of time. But I think for most people, they need to figure out what's going on internally with themselves before they just jump into a workout plan.
Got it.
Do you try to find the people that you're looking at, like you mentioned, like Odell Beckham's trainer? Do you try to find things that match your style of training, or you try to say, all right, let me find out what they're doing, and if it matches me, then I'll proceed? Or how do you kind of
Yes, I think
mesh
that
the both?
you should like your ideas, but you shouldn't love them.
Okay.
Right? Because at one point I realized that if someone has poor flexibility, they shouldn't be doing certain exercises. So I started figuring out things like resistance bands, things like body weight, things like plyometrics. Those things are least invasive. People can do them from their homes, and most trainers aren't doing it. So I'll take into account, like, for example, a drill might be like a speed drill, like a quick feet drill. Somebody be like, oh, what is this? But that crap get your heart rate up fast.
Yes, it
Anything
does.
jumping.
When I'm thinking about plyo, I'm thinking about P90X. I'm like, they love a plyo.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
They love
P90X
plyometrics.
is intense. But if you spend maybe 10, 15 minutes of your workout doing that, now your heart rate's up. Now you can kind of work out a little slower. Or hitting a Stairmaster at the end. So I see what these people are doing, and then I like look if I can see some science behind it. And then I'm like, okay, this makes sense. I'm gonna test it out on me first. And then I'll take the client that's very disciplined, and I'll try it with them. And then I'll also use I have the Whoop strap, and some of my clients have Apple Watches. So if you're not burning enough calories, then that means you're not working out hard enough. And another
That's
thing,
the way I
people,
feel.
they don't pick up heavier weights in the gym. So let's say you go to the gym, you squatting with 15. 3 weeks later, you shouldn't be squatting with a 15. You have mastered that 15.
I agree.
You know, so that's one of the things that stop people because people are so afraid of getting hurt. But most injuries in the gym are muscular. They're not joints or tendons, right? But when your back hurt, you feel like it's the world
End of the
is
world.
over.
That's me every morning, bro. We talk about this.
You know? So, but then that's where yoga, stretching, hot yoga comes into play. And
I'm
it's
working
just
on
that,
it.
That balance. I'm telling you, all you need to do 15 minutes a day of just stretching. Because people are like, oh, I'm going to do yoga 45 minutes. No, you're not.
Definitely
45
not.
minutes hard.
Yeah, that's a lot.
15
Yoga's
minutes,
a
10
lot.
minutes. Just, I feel like small bite-sized chunks
Right.
of whatever you want to attack in life is how you get
It's more than you was doing before. So that's it.
1% better every day.
It seems like you take the approach of, you mentioned small bite-sized chunks a lot. Like, that's how you approach life, it seems like. I'm not going to try to figure out how to be the best trainer or get $1 million or find the next job. It's like, all right, what can I do right now that's consistent? And I do that consistently to get to that long-term goal.
You know, my first thing that I did was, so when I was a trainer, I thought the goal was to make people tired. I had like 3 people.
It's not?
No.
We need to know what that goal
That's
is.
another thing too. Trainers are trying to make people tired.
Because it feels like you do more when you...
Yes, it's a mental hack for them. Like, oh, wow, I sweated today. Like,
Yeah.
no, that's
Yeah.
not true. I can make you tired and you
I
won't
say
sweat
that all
at
the time though, because he don't be sweating, but he's just not a sweater. So
Yes, I'm a chest sweater. I sweat
Oh,
here.
I be
first.
sweating. I be sweating.
That's it for me.
So the first 3 clients I had, I made them almost throw up because I got them doing squat thrusters, burpees.
Oh, come on.
Just going nuts because I'm like, oh, I gotta show them I can make them tired.
Yeah.
Then I started realizing like the goal was to not make a person feel sick.
Yeah.
And then I learned
ain't
to
gonna
set
come
a
back.
date. Hey, I'll check in with you on Wednesday. Does that work for you? I started having to learn the business side. And then I started asking like giving incentives like, hey, if you get me a new client, you get a session free. Or you get 10% off your...
Referral discounts.
Yes.
Returning
So-
customer discounts.
So I started
Reoccurring.
learning these things, and then I started realizing like, oh, people like me because I don't come off like a typical trainer.
Right.
So now I'll have conversation instead of like when people like, hey, you know, they find out I'm a trainer. I'm like, hey, you got to figure out what's work for you. I'm not a yeller. I started realizing that was my advantage, that I wasn't taking a fitness approach to fitness. I was taking more a lifestyle approach. So people felt like, oh, and I would ask them, what exercises don't you like? If you don't like burpees or deadlifts, we'll figure out another way to hit those muscles.
Don't everybody say burpees?
No one likes burpees.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
But to me, I feel like it's kind of a dangerous move if not done right. Like
Yeah.
when y'all used to come to my class that I did at 24,
Yeah.
I had to do it like that. But if y'all ever like work out with me and it's just y'all, like when I
One-on-one
did
is
the
different.
for your company when we did the thing at the gym I was working at, it wasn't too crazy. It was like circuits, work at your own pace. You know what I mean?
Because
Because
everybody's at a
very
different
comfortable.
level.
yes, and that's the
different
thing.
level.
Competition to me in comparison is the thief of all joy. Because I'm not about to be doing what no lineman does, 225 on the bench press. I'm just not gonna do it. But also too, it's like muscle memory, right? Like your bandwidth for doing the things you do has grown over time. Bandwidth is the same thing with working out. You can't come and try to keep up with somebody who's been working out 6 days a week for 2 years and you just getting back into it. And that's why a lot of people burn themselves out. And I'm sure with y'all clients, people burn themselves out. They try to do too much too fast. And I think that some people are to rip the Band-Aid off. I'm not. I am let me try this, let me do some research, try this, do some research. And that's why what I'm doing is data science and data analytics. Because that is the thing that I think is going to get... Patterns are always emerging around us. Even if we looked at our phone and the way we drove, patterns will emerge over time.
Right.
So I was like, oh, this is a way to help me get out of my own way by having data. Even as a trainer, everybody I've ever worked with, I'm like, hey, what exercise did you like? I should have been collecting data. So I know, okay, maybe I should make videos about abs instead of trying to get people to want to work on legs because people want abs even though it's diet. But that's what people,
We'll work on it.
those are the videos that did the best for me. And I should have been able to synthesize that data, aggregate it, get it together. And that's why I say infrastructure is so important because I'm sure the things that y'all do, y'all start to see patterns and trends emerge. I haven't seen y'all do videos where y'all talk about things that people were consistently asking. That's content. But me, I'm going against the grain. I'm like, no, I ain't talking about this. Because it's popular right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
I mean, that could work in your favor too, going against the grain.
No, when you started, you said when I was a trainer. Do you not consider yourself a trainer still?
no, I still am a trainer. I would consider myself a fitness professional.
And the difference for you
the
is
difference is being methodical about that process.
Okay.
The barrier to entry to fitness low. A girl go get a BBL and then say she a trainer the next day.
Oh, we see it on Instagram.
You know what I mean? How am I competing with that? Women are way more attractive to look at. Dudes will go hire a women trainer because they want to shoot their shot at them. Women can play for example, a girl might got 500,000 followers. She could charge $8 for a workout plan. She's playing a volume game. I can't do that. And I know what I'm worth. But if
What do
she
you
didn't-
charge, by the way?
Well, it depends. So I think right now, if someone wanted to train with me, depending on how serious, I learned this from him, I'm going to jack the price up. If you're serious, you're going to pay.
Yeah.
If you're not, then you won't. So I'm not a cut rate trainer. So like, I'm like, are you willing to commit? So average right now is anywhere between 70 to 90 a session. But I got to know you're serious, because if you get results, now that gives me credibility in the market. If you don't get results, I'm just getting money from you. And as you know, all money ain't good money. If it's not going to make me more money, then it ain't really good money.
Exactly.
Because it's just going to get spent. And there's no way to keep reproducing that. So I feel like I have a disdain right now for the current state of the fitness industry. And that's why like I'm only taking particular clients and people who are serious. One of my friends, he said he fire his clients that he consult with. If they don't reach benchmarks by a certain month, he fires. I was like, that's brilliant. So I took a 28 question questionnaire that I have now for any of my future clients that I'm going to give them. When is the last time you disappointed yourself? When is the last time you showed up for yourself? When is the last time you made an excuse for you to not do something you should do? Now, even if they lie, you thought about it. And you have to sit with yourself and like, man.
He asking too much questions.
But I let you know he's serious.
Yeah.
But I can do that now because I got my corporate bag. You know what I mean? Before
You don't
I had
have to take every client now.
Exactly. And I think that is fitness is a luxury service. Everyone should move their body, but it's not
But to
essential.
have a trainer is a luxury service.
I'm not selling food. I'm not selling cheap clothing. Like, this is something that people forgo. They got all these compression clothes for people to wear now, the angles. Like, people are not under that pressure to take the best care of their body now. And then, the way society is set up, you don't want to shame anybody, but you know how you feel internally. Don't look at the fact that other people aren't judging you as a reason for you not to be the best you can be for you. And like, people I'm like, man, I got to get back serious. And Jen's like, Oz, you look great. I'm like, I know I've been slacking.
Yeah. I know myself better.
Exactly.
I know myself better. So, okay, I just wanted to confirm. I'm like, are you still a trainer? Yeah.
So you mentioned like not having to force yourself to take every client. We talk about that every single time. When you get to that level where you realize people start businesses, entrepreneurship, they start these type of things out of necessity. I have to survive, which means I have to accept every client, which means
you operate
I'm going to
differently.
get yelled at. I'm going to get screamed at. I'm going to get cursed
I'm
out.
gonna lose money.
I'm going to lose money. I'm going to give you free services. I'm going to let you walk all over me because I need you to keep coming back. But you mentioned having that 9 to 5 is allowing you to be more selective in your business, but also approach it in a more holistic way, which seems to be the theme of this interview. So with that being said, and you're now looking at clients, you mentioned in this questionnaire, what's your ideal client when they come to you and say, hey, Oz, I want to work with you going forward for fitness?
Someone who has the desire and the drive and the discipline, but just need the tools and the environment. That is my ideal client. I shouldn't have to chase you down. I don't believe in following up with people. Yes, it affects my ability to make money sometimes. But if I got to follow up with you to start, I'm going to have to follow up with you to stay.
Right.
And then that becomes, it's like I'm your cheerleader. I'm trying to pump you up. And then we get to the point where people start to cancel, right? Okay, if you cancel, just...
You don't got a cancellation fee?
That don't do it for me because I want you to get results. You
But you still was
I'll still get my
time.
money. But
Okay.
if people, it's so there's a trend that happens. People start to cancel. They tend to not re-up. They
Right.
start to not buy another package.
Right.
Right. Also, too, very unpopular opinion. Sometimes I think it's better for us to segment the market in other ways, go after different clientele, and then come back and help the people you want to help or do something for free, right? Like if you guys are going to teach a financial literacy class and you wanted to target a social economic group, you can't charge what you were doing if you were charging people who had more money, right?
Yeah.
So that's my approach. Before I was like, I want to help out this demographic of people, but the show Cheer is about everybody knows your name, the same demographic of people going to a bar for 20 years. That don't happen in our culture. Oh my God, they throwing another party there? You know what I mean? Like that loyalty piece ain't there. But we put ourselves in a box because we all got that savior complex a little bit, right?
Not really. Tony does too. I don't have that.
George ain't playing that.
I honestly don't have that savior.
Well, I know I had it. Whereas, like, I want to help everybody. No, just be a beacon of light, and those who are drawn to you, you help those people. So that's why I feel like right now, me being off Instagram isn't a problem. Because, how much? Oh, somebody like, I have a question. How much water should I drink a day? I'm like, you can Google it. And I was like, I've seen so many different things. I'm like, okay, cool, half your body weight to a gallon, right? That's what I recommend. Then the next question is bread bad for me? Bad's relative. It depends on what your goals are.
Yeah.
I was like, I do consultation costs for $50 to $100, depending on the length of the consultation call. Oh, no, that's okay. I done exchanged 7 messages to get okay.
Listen, I be telling Tony all the time, get out them DMs. I don't be responding.
I stay responding.
I would let it be seen that I see it and keep it moving.
I synced it.
I see it. You can see, I could put a tap that I like. I like that you asked me the question, but I can't keep giving away free information like you said. Don't pay the bills.
See, I didn't know how to do that. That stressed me out. That took my life out.
To an extent, I can give information, and the thing about it, I think as well, is because we give information already on our page, so it's not
they probably
like
asking you a question. They ain't watch the video.
Oh,
they probably asking you questions.
All the questions we get are on our page. All the questions, and I think we are at a point now, and I watch other influencers too, and I see them just repeat the same thing every day, and I'm like, I think that's just part of it because you get new people, and people aren't scrolling back to read what you have on your page. 2017 or your highlights and stuff like that, and so I'm like, to a certain extent, I can repeat certain things, but some things, like you said, you give one answer, they gonna keep coming back. I'm like, no, ma'am, no. I like stop. I be telling Tony all the time, I'm like, you gotta stop responding. Just stop responding because you getting annoyed.
To add insult to injury, I'm an introvert and I get mad when people text me. I promise you, if it's 5 in the morning, right, and that means if I'm in LA, it's 8 in New York. If my phone vibrate, I'm like, who the hell is this?
Who is this?
Why are you contacting me? Now, my Instagram became like that. I post one thing, I'm getting 5 DMs. Now I'm having a conversation in the DM.
Yeah, well,
people are like, I haven't seen you post. Are you okay? You got my phone number. You decided to send me a DM. And I feel like social media is the wild, wild west right now. It's literally just leaving its like adolescence phase. It's been around for what? Since Instagram been popping like 2012, 2013?
Facebook started
in 05?
Yeah, I don't know. Around then,
Facebook was only cool to our uncles and aunts been able to get on it.
When you only had to use a college email.
Yes, that's when it was lit. You'll post your pictures from the party, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
there wasn't much conversation going on, so I feel like for me, every day or every month, these social media sites are changing their algorithm. But people aren't changing. So you got to adjust to this algorithm to attract more people, and everything feels salesy. YouTube will add you to death. Yeah, because they want you to pay for YouTube Red. I ain't paying for it. I turn the volume all the way down so that skip
ad. You know 5 seconds until you can skip ad.
So I started to feel like, am I being one of those people who are just overwhelming people with information? But also too, another thing I learned is fitness requires you to do something physically. Most other businesses don't. Financial literacy might require you to go see someone or to read a book. That doesn't have the same angst as 5 a.m. You put your feet on the floor cold. It's a light drizzle outside, and you like, nah, I'm about to lay back down.
Right,
a lot more barriers.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like during the pandemic, we had people on live every day, workout people on live, like giving away free workouts because there was no other. You wasn't seeing nobody because you didn't know.
And everybody came to me, Oz, you should do free workouts. I'm like, this is not scalable. This is temporary. This is the quick dash for the money, but this ain't sustainable. So I was literally like, what am I doing, and is it worth my time? And like, no disrespect, I'm not rich by any means, but $30, $40, $50 ain't worth my time. I'd rather charge 5 people $50 at once. Because then my hour is still my hour. And that's where I got to the point, like, I don't have infrastructure. Like, I don't have ways to funnel clients. I literally had to be outside to get clients in LA. I got maybe, in my whole time training, I maybe got 1 or 2 clients off Instagram.
And you've been training since 2015?
Yep.
So that's about 6, 7 years.
Now, we even spoke to somebody else in regards to, they said, I don't want my clients to be randoms off of social media. I would rather Anthony tell Janoka to tell her friend about
Referral.
me, because now they know my personality, they know who I want to. Just when you talk about friendship in general,
Right.
like your circle, what people that you want around you. Like I don't want the randoms around me. No, I want people who know me, know my personality, know my style. That's not going to BS me, and you can only get that type of clientele from word of mouth.
And boom, then when I meet you, I met you through somebody who I knew.
Yeah.
And I showed you love like you one of my bros,
Yeah.
right? And I gave you a rundown of the people you need to watch out for being here, right? And that's what I enjoy, because I had one girl, she only worked out with me for 2 months, but she got me 2 clients. She good in my book. If I was in LA and she needed a session, I got her. If you make me money, you're an asset to me.
Yeah.
In every aspect of the word. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I was even helping some of my friends vet their trainers. I enjoy doing that. Like one of my friends, she was getting a trainer out in Austin. She was like, hey, Oz, I'm not sure what I should do. I said, hey, ask for an intro session and let me know how they work you out. Do they try to make you tired? And do they educate you while they're teaching you? If you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach him to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. No trainer should be looking to have a client pass
Forever.
Forever. Like, they don't care about you. You're a dollar sign to them. And I know that money, like Kanye say, money's only everything to somebody who don't got it. Even if I may not physically have it, I don't want to operate out of not having it, right? So you start doing predatory things like, you should work out 4 times a week.
With a
The
trainer?
average person with a trainer, right?
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Average person 2 to 3.
Yeah.
So I had to start thinking about my business model realistically. Yeah, it'd be great to get somebody to work out 5 days a week. I don't even work out 5 days a week every week because things come up. So trainers oversell because they need the money. Scarcity will ruin a business. And I had to learn, like, I'm like, I don't even like, I was literally not liking fitness no more. I was like, I'm done. F these people.
And I think it's different when you have to work from that. If you got this industry and you have to apply by the same norms as everyone else, and you have to do the same things, you eventually fall out of love with it.
And look, just think about it like this, right? If you would you go to a general practicing doctor for neurosurgery?
No.
Exactly.
Of course not.
There is no division here, right? Everyone's an expert on the internet.
She tried to send me to the, what is it called? For my knee?
You have to get a referral from them.
I didn't want to go to the general practitioner. No, I wanted to go to the knee doctor.
His knee was bothering him, but the process of medical is that you have to go to your PCP to get a referral to go to whoever else.
I went to the source. I had to go to the
you
source.
was just stubborn and went on ZocDoc and found a knee person.
I went right to him.
But that's the way you
That's
cut
the
all the
process.
fluff out, because they probably would charge you a copay from going to your
I was like,
general practitioner.
I know you're gonna refer me out to somebody else. Why not just send me directly to the source?
That's
what I
usually
needed.
how it go. I don't make the rules. Listen,
I know.
I don't make the rules.
But going back to what you were saying, like when you have to practice in the field that everyone else is, you kind of fall out of love with it.
Yeah, and the thing is, you start to realize that, like, I gotta go put on my influencer. Hey guys, I know I haven't talked to you in a few days. Like, I'm like, son, that is not me. So
you can be yourself on there.
it's hard. Like this, I can do this because I'm going off of people. But sitting in front of my phone talking to my camera myself, it's a little spooky.
It's
a little weird.
It's a little different.
You know what I mean?
I don't disagree.
And also, too, I don't want to pontificate and appear like I'm an expert. My research and my example and my experience has led me to this point. But everyone wants to sell you on their expertise. You can't keep expertise. There's always new information, right?
Yep.
Like, what y'all did when y'all paid off for y'all, it might be harder for someone to do right now because of the Uber, the debt. Like, these companies
COVID,
are
all
really
this
how to
stuff.
like nickel and dime people. We're like, I was like, you know what? Let me see what this Postmates hitting for, because I was like, you know what? When I don't got clients, I made like $8 in 2 hours. I was like, oh no.
Oh wow.
I was like,
What's
oh no.
Postmates doing? Oh, that sounds horrible.
But what happens is, somebody might be Postmating McDonald's. Now I'm disgusted. Now I put their food in my trunk. You
don't want the smell in your car?
No. You know what I'm saying?
McDonald's stays in your car. There's something very bizarre. When you have McDonald's and then the next day you go back in, the scent is still in the car.
It is.
I don't know what they doing in the
intentional.
McDonald's.
They probably had a scientist be like,
They
figure
got
out
a
how
spray
can you
back
make
there.
this smell
probably what it
linger.
is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like when you're operating in this space of like, I got to do these things because this is what's popular. You know, like some of the financial people like, oh, you should start this business, this. Even when you sent me the rental car thing, I was like, this is a good idea, but I'm not going to do it. I watched the whole thing. But now when I do decide I'm ready, I'm like, okay, I got exposure to this and now I'm ready to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because for me, I was like, one of our homies told me about his experience when he did it. Arguing with a guy, he talking about he want a refund for the day, and I was like, This is not my personality.
It's not me.
And that's the thing.
not
Knowing
me.
yourself is going to help you in every aspect. Like, I think you do a great job of like locking in and getting it done. Like, that's a skill. But the things that you don't find as important in practice, in theory they're important. That might be your struggle. Whereas all the things in theory I find important, I do. The things that it might be important. Like, people should budget. Do I budget? It depends how much money I'm making. You know what I'm saying? If I got a lot of money at the end of my money, I'm a budget. If I got a lot of money at the end of the month, I might be like,
It is what it is.
right.
It is what it is. But yeah.
So with you, like you're back in Dallas now. You seem like you still love fitness, but you're trying to transition out. What's next for you, for Oz, in terms of your hustle? What's next for you in terms of business, entrepreneurship, life?
Hands-off operations.
Okay.
Things that don't require a lot of legwork. And whatever profit I make, whatever I decide to do, I'm hiring an assistant. Somebody I can pay per task or per hour to get it done.
Okay.
We admire hard work because it gives us it's almost like it boosts our ego. Like, yeah, I work hard, I'm grinding out here, team no sleep. That's not sustainable.
Not at all.
Having family, you don't want to miss out on those moments because of work, right? We think about how our parents raised us. I don't know everybody's experience, but you go to school, they did daycare. You come home, your mom, dad yell at you about doing some chores. You eat, you go to your room, homework, play video games, and go to. My parents couldn't come to watch my performance in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
My goal is to be able to be present with my daughter. My goal is to be able to go sit down and watch a football game with my father and not have anxiety because I think I need to be grinding. I don't want to miss any of those.
Freedom.
Exactly. Miss any of those more moments. So during COVID, I started to look into stocks and learning about crypto. And I treat crypto like dates. You go on a date with a woman, you spend $200, they don't guarantee you nothing. So I had to create I don't care if I win or lose with this money, but I have to try. Because if I don't try, I guarantee that I lose.
Yep.
And, retirement, the pension ain't going to pay for us. My number is $3 million. I could live off $300,000 at the market doing 8 to 12% a year.
So you're saying once you make $3 million and whatever
I
it
can
is
put
that
it
you
and
do,
invest it,
and
I
then
can just
you
chill.
can just stop.
And then if I can work for my passion, like one of the things I'm gonna do is one of our friends, he works with athletes. I'm gonna go do it for free because I have consistent income now. I enjoy people who have that desire. I thought about it. I'm not passionate about shit. I don't know if I can curse, but I'm not passionate about it. I'm not passionate. I'm passionate about freedom and options. The vehicle that gets me there, minus my morals and my principles being compromised, I'm for it. It could be vending machines. It could be rental cars. It could be rental properties. It could be venture
Whatever it is,
capitalists.
right.
Whatever it is. And I learned that from y'all. Like, y'all don't seem passionate about what y'all do. Y'all seem like y'all passionate about informing people of things they can do to be free themselves up.
That's exactly it. Because we tell people all the time, why would I be, but I'm not passionate about a cleaning business.
Yo, and living in LA taught me that. Passion will have you on Skid Row.
Yeah.
Like, there's people I know who got Grammys who seem like they ain't get a beat off yet. They producers. Because they still hungry. In Dallas, all y'all live great. Y'all get haircuts all the time. I be looking like a homeless person if I don't got nowhere to be. Yo, y'all living good. Like, what you can get for in Dallas versus what you can get for in LA and versus what you got to do to keep it. Here, our friendships don't affect our bag unless we want to make a play later on. But we can. I didn't even know what some of my friends did for a living here. It was like, yo, they cool. We go drink, have a good time. And I think that you feel a genuine connection when you're not chasing money to people and to things. Yeah. So my goal is to buy some property by the end of this year and to keep it at a reasonable price point, because there's certain money I know y'all can make in y'all sleep. I don't know whether it might be 2, 5, whatever, but if anything hit the fan, y'all know y'all can go make this, right? Once I'm in that space, that's where confidence just grows, because now I don't have to worry about this aspect. So it's like a snowball effect, right? Another goal, pay my car off, put my car on the site, then maybe lease a car. I've been watching Earn Your Leisure. They've been talking about all the little financial hacks. Yeah. And start having these as a tool deck. And somebody's like, oh, what are you passionate about? Living, life, breathing.
Enjoying life.
Like, why do we have to go so hard for something that we love? Like, I think it's dope if you're an artist. But at the end of the day, as an artist or as an athlete, you got what 4 to 10 years, unless you're an elite quarterback or you're a Drake.
Yeah.
Or Beyonce.
So these things I'm starting to realize is a lot of these things are for me to check boxes for other people's boxes, right? Oh, I'm grinding, I'm working hard, I'm this, I'm that. Like, I'm not passionate about any of this stuff. I'm passionate about fitness for me. But because I was listening to people, it turned into being a business, which I'm happy, but I learned that when I don't have to go train other people, I'm in the best shape of my life. The moment I start having to train people, can we move the session back 30 minutes? Can we move it to tomorrow? And if you need the money, yeah, I'm good. Now, no, my calendar's booked. I'll see you next Monday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now you're in your power place. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to be rude to anybody. And I'm even at a point now, I'm like, hey, I can recommend a trainer to you, even if I don't reach if I'm not in your price point. You let me know what trainers you find, and I'll tell you how to vet them.
That's it.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
And that's ways that you can continue to provide value to people without having to put yourself out there too.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the trainer for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, like, fitness is a mysterious thing, but when I've been working out consistently for this 11 years. So I started in 2011. First time I ever got a six pack was April of 2011. I lost it 2 weeks later. Because, it's like a dog chasing a car. What do a dog do when it chases a car? It stops, turn around, like,
Yeah.
what do you do? So, right. So it's, sustainability. And I think that's where I'm at right now is like that. I want to be able to take my profits, make more money, and then use my assets to pay for my liabilities. You know what I'm saying? And thankful to y'all, Earn Your Leisure, these other people who are putting this game out there. I'm not screaming from the mountaintop because people only listen to you once you up. And I know y'all seen it, like, because y'all are doing something that people view as success, more people tune in and listen now. Whereas in the beginning, when you were sharing your Dave Ramsey philosophy,
He's laughing at
like
me.
he was, you know what I'm saying? They was looking at you like it's crazy. And then I remember y'all was even having videos, people trying to like make sense of why y'all was able to do what y'all did. Y'all was disciplined. Don't ask how much y'all make. It don't matter. Because people make a lot of money, but only have
people
a
make
little
more
bit
money
left.
than us and don't do it. So it's kind of like,
We had doctors and lawyers in our group, and they just couldn't do it.
The thing is, it's easier to accept that you're at a disadvantage than to do the work. And I'm not for that no more, right? Like, so one of the things I did, I was like, one of the ways to be rich isn't making more money all the time. Sometimes it's reducing expenses. If you do that, now what you need to live is easier. So I was like, okay, how can I reduce my living expenses? And another thing, doing things that you don't need to do versus things that you have to do. In the black community, if you live at home with your parents, you're a failure, you're a bum, et cetera, et cetera. One of my homegirls bought a $500,000 house in Florida. She's living in her parents' back house. Chilling.
Saving up.
She never had to go look at the house. She hired somebody to do all that. And she owns a franchise. Chilling. But let me say,
I'm living at home at
everybody like side eye.
you know what I mean? But
serial killer.
That's how you get ahead.
Yeah.
Reduce your expenses. Take this L, quote unquote, for a year or two. Just like y'all been could have had a big gargantuous house somewhere. But y'all waited.
Yeah.
Patience is so important. So that's where I'm at right now, man. It's just pouring into myself and my core. I'm talking about meditating, eating healthy, calling my friends, even inconveniencing myself for my friends, right? One of our homies live an hour away. I don't feel like driving over there, but I know that your planet seeds, it's time to water them. And I think also too, I've done a psychedelic before. It isn't, and I'll just bring this full circle. What kept coming up for me was people. I thought I was going to go on a psychedelic experience and get this information about how to be a billionaire. Everything kept coming up with people, and most importantly, it was women. Women will turn your one into two. A man gonna try to take your one and make it his one, unless you find the right people. I've never met a woman that wasn't willing to help me. And all my main clients were women.
Yeah.
They're more open. They don't find it joy to be masculine. You know what I'm saying? Like men, they'll just steal your workouts.
Prove a point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, one of my dudes in my network, he was like, he only works with women. He's like, everybody I hired was women because every time I brought a man in, he took what I gave him and he did his own thing. The same exact thing I did, he did his own thing. So I understand that.
And I think
that's why me and Janoka work so well together. It's just me and her.
and honestly, I saw y'all and I'm like, man, it's so dope. They knew each other for so long. Like, I'm like, I don't got 10 years to get to know somebody. I'm like, I can't do it.
The older you get is the quicker you move. 3 months, you're like, all right, I
think
see.
that experience taught me that it's like, I'm sure as soon as I met Ant, I was like, nah, he cool. Me and Janoka ain't talk much, but I liked her because she didn't talk that much. Because in my mind, friendly people are the ops. You know what I mean? And
Well,
that was
Texas.
that was my viewpoint back then. But everyone's strategizing in their own way. So now I can deal with it. But you know, I'm such an open person. Like y'all know how I am. I'd be telling my business because I'm over it. It ain't a secret to me no more.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas, but I learned that. People started to create images about you, right? Like, for example, if I'm like, yo, I'm vegan, people assume that I don't want to be around meat.
Yeah.
I went to Mother's Day. I went to Texas Day, Brazil with my mom, and just nothing but meat.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
You
Like,
flip the thing to bring more meat to the table.
yeah,
Right?
you know what I mean? Like, I was like, yo, I don't eat it, but I can be here to fellowship. And I think relationships are so important. Like, it was a guy, I forgot it was on my playlist, motivation playlist that I have, my SoundCloud motivation playlist I have. He was like, take your money to get access and information. I'm in a postgraduate degree program for data science. Everybody on there getting a LinkedIn request. All the students, all the teachers. Because I realized that somebody might see you know somebody. Like, people be getting hyped when I tell them I know y'all. They're like, where'd you know them? I was like, yeah, I was like, yo, those don't. That's
It's
a
funny when we
big,
came out of Dallas. I'm like, I know Oz. It's like, oh, you know Oz?
right? And you know, same way with some of our other friends. It's like, people find their way to like give you credit or not give you credit. So I started figuring out, I'm like, okay, if I associate myself with people who I admire who they are or what they're doing, I'm gonna, it's like this, Denzel said it. He said, if you hang around a barbershop long enough, you're gonna get a haircut. You might start with just sweeping the floor. But I think that, in the same thing you were saying about the one conference you went to, being willing to pay a large amount of money for something, you're gonna do it. Because that's the one thing none of us gonna play with is our money. Yeah. But if somebody paid $30.
You pay attention.
Right. Think about the clientele between 24, LA Fitness, Fitness Connection,
And
Equinox Lifestyle.
Yep.
Right?
It's completely different.
I'm not making no business deals at 24. His job might be to eat protein and be a power lifter. And Equinox, they all got I call it the corporate body. Like, not really fat, not really in shape, but just kind of there.
They gotta walk.
I got
too.
that body. Enough.
But the thing is, you're still young, and I'm back in Texas now. Y'all got no excuse.
Oz is back in Texas, man. Appreciate you being here, man.
A lot of gems you drop. Exactly. I'm trying to think what clips we gonna use. We got a lot of clips to use. But thank you for coming. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you subscribe, share, download. How can people follow you quickly so we can let them know?
They want to book
or
you,
find you.
book
Get
you, more information.
Fit to the core. Wellness at gmail.com would be the most effective way.
And Fit to the Core is 2 or T-O or?
2. You're right. FIT to the core. Wellness at gmail.com. On Instagram, once they release this, I'll probably get Instagram for a week so I can reply.
We'll put you in the comments and all that stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, too, I'm on Twitter, so I kind of transitioned a little bit. It's Oz in Tech, OZZ in Tech, and that's another thing I'm learning, like how to leverage these things. I follow all strangers, and I follow more people than following me. I thought that was swagless to do on Instagram, but
back in the day, but now,
but in my new space, strangers are more open to helping you than people you know. So I'm here for the strangers, and also you can get me on LinkedIn.
There you go. All right, so.
Appreciate you being here, Oz. Again, another episode of the Hartzog Hustle. Please rate, subscribe. We're also on youtube.com/The Hartrimony. Appreciate you guys being here. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Thank you.
Peace.
This has been an episode of the Hartzog Hustle Podcast. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite listening platform. And follow Anthony and Janilka on Instagram at The Hartrimony. That's TheHartrimony. Keep hustling, baby. Keep hustling, baby.
Get that money. Get that money.